What's up, everybody? We are live. At least we should be live. At least we should be live and direct. I see the jokes down there. The the CP hour, with Bernard Riley. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm working on it. He ain't through with me yet, as a good Christian folks say. Um, I'm already caught up in the chat room when I should be doing the shows. As hey, Edward, did you watch Jason Black talk ish on the Passport Bros last night? My take on that, actually, I'm gonna start that because I'm gonna come back to that because that man talks junk about everybody when it comes talking about derogation of competitors, trying to sully the name of the competition of anybody who talks about anything slightly related or adjacent to being black. They're not doing it right. And you're only going to get the truth over here on the Black channel. That's what he does. That's his thing. He did that with Kevin Samuels. Okay, it was actually funny when he used to say, he used to be like, "You're not going to get this over here. You're not going to," because when he was talking about with the stuff that he talked about over there, he said, "You're not going to get that over there on Kitten Hills and Fruity and Fraud," or whatever he used to call Fresh and Fit, or still call Fresh and Fit. It was actually funny, but it's still hating. But shout out to Jason Black. He's very, very entertaining, but he does do that hating thing. But anyway, to the topic. Before I roll the intro, yes, we're going to be talking about Dr. Umar Johnson. I'm posing two questions. One, why is he still hating on Kevin Samuels? And three, are pro-blacks kind of haunted by the ghost of Kevin Samuels and everything he did to stir the pot and change things up to where they don't have as much of a stranglehold? Their star isn't quite as high, and they still see him as the reason why. So they still have to sully his name, and by sullying his name by default, by extension, they're also trying to sully the name of all the other black male content creators who do similar content to what he did. So we're going to get into that. RM, drop that comment down for me. Get rid of that comment. Shout out to LB Crypto. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
What is up? What is going on, good people? What is going on, good people? We would like to welcome everybody to the show. Shout out to Andre, who sent a $5 super sticker. I believe you sent another one that said message retracted. I don't know if I got it. I don't know if I got paid for it. I don't know if it went through. I don't know what happened. But if you sent two of them, thank you very much. If you sent one, thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Shout out to LB Crypto. I might circle back to that one. Shout out to Rod of God podcast coming through bright and early, putting something on it, saying support black male media. Absolutely. That's definitely It's absolutely imperative that you do so. Absolutely imperative that you do so. But shout out to the rest of the early bird squad, those of you who are making it in bright and early. Making it in bright and early. Shout out to RM, who always says, hit the like button as you make your way in the building. Shout out to who else we got in here. To make sure y'all click that link if you're in the Detroit area. Shout out to Snazzy Individual, LB Crypto. Shout out to Edward Anderson in the building. I'll probably come back to that one as well. Shout out to Winthrop, the Mac the Trucker, clowning me as usual for being on CP time. That ain't going nowhere. He says, haha, let's get it, let's go. Shout out to Chris G, Osama Abdu, my man in the building, Red Scorpio, Charles Merchant. Who else we got in this joint? Ed, I see Ed posting a lot. Whenever Ed posts a lot, it give me a lot to talk about. So I appreciate that. And shout out once again to David Oler King in the building. All right. Drop the music. I got RM in the back on the ones and twos DJing. Okay, RM, when you drop the music, you gotta fade it out. Get the volume and like slow fade it out and then push stop. I just thought of that right now because it just like went boom. But no, you want to fade it out. Slow. All right. we build it while we fly. But shout out to RM. Oh, you did fade it out slow? Okay, cool. Shout out to RM. All right. No, but we in here. Let's real quick before I get into it, Edward Anderson in the building says these dudes are such effing cowards. They talk all about the black church being all money, but the main reason why he does what he does is to protect his B-dub revenue stream. LB Crypto in the building. Says, asking Ed, did he watch Jason Black? Well, Ed is referring to Umar. And Umar does have a fiduciary incentive in protecting his black woman revenue stream. He does have a incentive in doing so. Kevin Samuels messed that up. Kevin Samuels came along and gave the women who fund and support Umar a different way of thinking, a different place to, I don't know, maybe throw their money, even though I still hold that black men supported Kevin Samuels more than black women. You could just look at the super chats. We're not going to disrespect Theo, Ike, JB, and a lot of others who was dropping them $100, $200, $300 super chats in there. We're not going to disrespect those brothers. But yeah, he definitely changed the game and flipped things upside down. And the game will never be the same. And Umar is still definitely feeling the sting and feeling the pinch of that. Still definitely feeling the sting and feeling the pinch of that. Shout out to Roddy God once again. And let me just see what Ed talking about early on. So is he characterizing Kevin as a whiner? Like I said, Umar F, the Dr. BS main job was to speak on behalf of these boys. He is effing coward, and that is how I would go at it. Yeah, he says, I would constantly hammer him on that front. These boys are failing, and you are too gutless to go to the source. Woo! Black women and their independent BS. Good points. He says, I might hop on and give my 2 cents on this because Umar has been getting on my nerves for a while. He really needs to sit the F down. Well, I hear he got the school. And everything. And somebody asked him a question that should not have been a devastating question. Somebody asked him the question that should not be a caught off guard question. Somebody asked him the question. I'm going to play the clip of that. And I didn't want to play this clip because I didn't want to be petty. But Ed kind of brought it. Ed kind of bringing it out of me. Somebody asked him the question. Let me type it in. Somebody asked Umar Johnson the question. Look at me. I'm typing without looking at the keys. Okay. Damn it. I had to look. Okay, hold on. That's actually hard to do. I'll probably never master that. How are you going to pay for the teachers actually? Somebody asked him the question, how are you going to pay for the teachers? I have to find that. Actually, no, RM, look at it. Try to find that video for me while you're at it. Try to find that video for me because I typed it in and I couldn't find it. Somebody asked him the question, how was he going to pay for the teachers? And he didn't seem to have a good answer, which that shouldn't be a daunting task. It seemed like he would have just said, oh, well, the school is not going to be free. There's going to be a tuition, and from the tuition and possible grants and possible donations and possible this and people contributing, that's going to, I'm going to work a budget around that, and around that budget, that's how the teachers are going to get paid for. But his response was something along the lines of, you're not a teacher, so don't worry about that. I'm like, hold on, they just asked a question about paying teachers to work there. This isn't a volunteer operation, but he kind of lost it. he kind of lost it when somebody just asked him what I thought was an okay question. I thought it was an okay question at best. He said you're gonna pay with Popeye's coupons, man. Cut it out. But no, but we're going to be getting into that. It's a number of things on the docket. Today. So we're going to ease on into it. I got a number of things on the table. One thing I got to cover, and I'm going to run the risk of my channel by throwing this one out there. I'm going to risk my channel just a bit by throwing this one out there. This situation here. All right. Now, I know y'all saw this, and I know a lot of people are making a big deal about this. Now, keep in mind, before I say why I don't think this is real, a lot of y'all know what happened. Basically, they got into an argument, and she clocked him in the head with a bowling ball. All right. That's the gist of what happened. Knocked him out, and then went and rolled a strike, and then stepped over the body. And he got up and he was leaking from the side of the head. I have my reasons why I think this is fake. Okay, Rod don't know what this is. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play it. I'm going to risk a bit. May edit this out. I may have to edit this out, but we'll go ahead and play it.
Oh shit!
She dropped him.
God damn!
You couldn't really see the bowling ball in her hand that good at this angle, being cropped the way it is. But that was a bowling ball she dropped him with. He arguing with a chick. I mean, we talking about that bidirectional violence and sometimes that unidirectional violence, how it is more slanted towards black women. I'm just saying, don't be chest to chest arguing with a chick and she got a deadly weapon in her hand. That's all I'm saying. Now, if this was real, she should be charged with attempted murder. If this was real. If this is real, she should be charged with attempted murder. I know it didn't look fake. I'm going to show you why I think it's fake. I'm about to play the rest of it.
A viral video where a couple gets in an intense argument at a bowling alley. The woman then hits her man in the head with a bowling ball, then proceeds to bowls a strike.
Hit that strike! Roll it! Roll a strike! That nigga's sleep is over.
And she bowled a perfect strike.
Everyone at the scene was
stepped over the body like Iverson did Tyloo in the 2001 NBA Finals,
laughing and praising the woman, while the guy was seriously injured. This does makes you wonder, what if the roles were...
And now he leaking on the side of his head. All right, this is why I think it's fake. And keep in mind, when I say, and I'm saying that it's fake, I'm not saying it's fake because I don't think these chicks got the capacity to do that. They clearly got the capacity to do that, as cold and callous as it was done there. Clearly. The reason I think it's fake is because you can see right here, she hit him on the right, on the left side of his head, in the left corner of his head. The man got up leaking on the right side of his head. That is the reason I'm questioning the validity of it. He was hit on one side and then leaking blood on the other side. That is the only reason I'm questioning this. The only reason. And I'm normally spot on. I'm normally undefeated when it comes to figuring out when these things is fake. The McDonald's baby mama with the, why you can't get McDonald's for all my kids. And then, I thought I eyed out that one was not real. I eye out all these things that's not real. And Rod is making the only argument that could make sense to show the validity of it. Now, if it is the case, right there where it said he could have hit his head when he fell. Well, okay. I didn't read what you said before I posted it. But it's one of the two is possible. It's possible he could have hit his head when he fell. That's true. Or, now I gotta go MacGyver the video again, Zapruder the video, and look at how he fell. But I was thinking it could have been leaking and he could have just been laying in it.
God damn!
A viral video where a couple gets in an intense argument at a bowling alley. The woman then hits her man in the head with a bowling ball, then proceeds to bowls a strike.
Hit that strike! Roll it! Roll a strike! That nigga sleep is over. Oh!
Yeah. So it's a possibility. It's a possibility. He could have been laying in it. Shout out to Andre, new member. It could have been leaking from that side, and then he laid in it from the other side. All of that is possible. He could have hit his head on the way down. All of that is possible. But when I see the striker get bowled and the step over him like Iverson did Ty Lue in the 2001 NBA Finals, it just reeks of too many well-placed scripted things after the fact. It just reeks of that. So what I am looking out for, and which I want y'all to do and send it to me if you find it, because it is a 0% chance that this could get posted on the internet and then and then an investigation doesn't start. Like by now, or at least in the next coming couple days, we should be able to find out about an arrest of this woman. At least I hope that that's not where we're at, where somebody could just do this on tape and then, front facing on the camera, and there's no way, no how, between nobody who posted it, no investigation, no nothing, no way of finding this person. I hope that's not the case. I have my suspicions that it's fake, but like I said, I don't think it's fake because I think she lacks the capacity. I don't think it's fake because she lacks the capacity. We know that there are many that definitely have the capacity to pull that off. It could be that cold and callous while doing it. We know that that's a thing. But I have my suspicions about this. I'll be always suspicious about it. But if this is real, hold on. I'm sitting here talking about the mental capacity of a person to do that and be still calm, cool, and collected enough to bowl a strike. You gotta be calm and have focus when bowling a strike. I mean, I suck at bowling. You gotta get it right. You gotta bowl that thing. So I'm sitting there talking about, could you be, focused enough to bowl that strike after you just did that, and then still have the mindset, the mental capacity that you just still calm, walking back like the Terminator, just stepped over like Iverson. It's like I'm sitting there talking about that, but Rod is like, nah. He analyzing whether or not she got the arm strength. He looking at the shoulders. I'm analyzing how a person has the mental capacity to do that. He analyzing whether or not she got the strength in that backhand, in the shoulder, in the swing back, in the cock back to pull that off. She got enough strength to do that. But yeah, Earthian, whatever I think I said that right. I'm analyzing the mental capacity and psychological the psyche of somebody who does that and just that calm about it. Like that okay. The worst thing about when Ray Rice punched his girl, it wasn't the punch. It was after he did it, it just looked horrible that he just did it like bow, dropped her, and then he just leaned back like it wasn't shit. He didn't react until he realized she got knocked out when she it looked like she got knocked out from hitting her head on the thing when she fell. But either way it goes, don't matter. He knocked her out. But that was the thing that bothered people the most, how cool, cold, calm, and collected he was after the punch. That always that's the part that I notice. How somebody act after they landed. And let me try to scoot over something. I'm kind of out the frame. How somebody act after the fact. Yeah, you're a killer if you kill somebody. But if you kill somebody and then you just walk away whistling or something, like that's I want to see you get more time. I want, you kill somebody, okay, 25 to life with possibility of parole, 25 years, possible parole. I'm good with that. I'm good with you getting parole after you kill somebody. If you kill somebody and just walk away whistling, okay, no, give him the chair. Lethal injection. He done. He done. it's no redemption story there. He killed somebody and walked away whistling. Like that's if this is real, that's how I see her. You just killed somebody and just walk bold a strike and stepped over the body and just walked away whistling. That's how I see that. If you do that, you're a special type of crazy. You're a special type of crazy. Special type of crazy for that. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it. It's more to come, man. Wait, watch the end of this month, man. Watch the end of this month. It's going down. It's going down. It's definitely going down. But either way, I got my eyes open for that. I don't know how good police work is. I do know social media be getting a lot of people found guilty. People be self-snitching on social media. That's a fairly common thing nowadays. So because of that, I'm telling myself, if this is real, there's somebody somewhere connected to the first person who posted this video, to where the police can investigate from there, or could possibly look at her on the thing. I mean, if she's in the database at all, they got facial recognition. Like this is a findable assailant. That's all I'm saying. This is a findable assailant. That you can't tell me that there's no way that they can't bring her down. They can't find her. They can't go get her. They can't, you telling me that she get to do this on camera and just walk free? Yeah, the bystanders didn't seem to care either. I hope we not there. That just shows the manosphere has a lot more work to do of raising the awareness of men, that this type of thing is not all right. It's just not all right. It ain't. It's not okay. But the dude, it was a dude in the background rooting and cheering and shit, so that's where we at. That's where we're at. Before I dive all the way into it, one more thing before I get all the way into the Umar.
Soccer player who refused to kneel for BLM is scoring a legal victory. U.S. District Judge Thomas Cullen rejected Virginia Tech's bid to dismiss a lawsuit filed by a Virginia Tech women's soccer player who says she was benched after she did not kneel in a pregame ceremony. The lawsuit pits former player Kirsten Henning against the team's coach Charles Adair, alleging he became furious when she refused to kneel in support of social justice movements, primarily to her objections to the Black Lives Matter organization's mission statement. The lawsuit claimed,
all right. Right now, that's the good part. That's the good part, what you just heard right there. Okay. When she said her refusal to kneel had more to do with the Black Lives Matter mission statement, or had all to do with the Black Lives Matter mission statement, because it could get lumped in as she's being racist and the coach is being not racist because he wanted her to kneel and was mad at her because she didn't, and her refusal to kneel could make her look racist. That's how that could easily get spun in that way. And sometimes, be honest, it probably be that way sometimes. Some of them who just like, yeah, fuck these niggas. That's how some of them are. we're not gonna deny that. Not gonna deny that. But the only reason I wanted to cover this because she mentioned the most operative part of this, the Black Lives Matter mission statement that was on their website, that I could confidently say that we, and by we I mean men online speaking up and talking shit, made them take down. We made them take that down because we called it out, because they got exposed, because their mission statement literally said that their goal is to disrupt or dismantle the nuclear family structure. They want to end the whole structure of man, woman, child. They want to end and tear that apart, while being an organization that is, rallying and speaking up that's built around black men who were killed by the cops. And then when you I hate to even get into this, but we know the stats on how people turn out, single mothers raised and whatnot. It's the stats on their likelihood to end up in prison, at what percentage rate more than people who came from 2-parent households, the likelihood of them ending up in prison, the likelihood of them engaging in violence, having a criminal record, going to prison, dropping out of high school, committing suicide, you name it, across the board, is all bad. And people who live those type of lifestyles are the people who do end up getting ultimately shot by the cops. Not justifying the cops for the unlawful shootings. I'm just saying that people who live certain lifestyles are the ones who ends up in those run-ins with the police. So this organization that was built on fighting for or speaking up for the men who were killed by the police, they are anti the thing that this organization that is for Black Lives Mattering, that they are against the thing that helps Black lives flourish the most. Like you gotta let that sink in, and when you let that sink in, you have a clear understanding of the problem with that whole movement, and all the people that started that movement. When we talking about black lesbians who are in relationships with white women, using the dead bodies of black men to build an organization and make a bunch of money and do a bunch of shit with it and fund leftist LGBT political causes that don't got shit to do with black men. Like, that's what it is. That's what it is. And those tenets that they had to take down when we called it out, that's what exposed that. So she looked at those tenets and she probably had something. She probably just was brought up Christian conservative or something like that. But when she saw those tenets, she was like, nah, I'm not kneeling with this stuff. I'm not standing by this stuff. And so you have to respect that. So shout out to her. Shout out to Coach. I think he was already a member. You probably just had to re-up or become a member or something like that. That happens sometimes. You switch a credit card or whatever. You got to start the membership all over. But shout out to Coach, still been a member for a while. Shout out to Andre, just became a member. I don't know if you were one before, you just became one today. But either way, definitely appreciate you being a member. Definitely appreciate you being a member. Definitely appreciate everybody who support the stream in any way, shape, or form. Appreciate each and had to move something. All right, cool. Appreciate each and every one of you. Let me roll a little bit more of this.
Before a game in 2020, Henning remains standing. The Black Lives Matter organization's mission statement. The lawsuit claims before a game in 2020, Henning remained standing while most of her teammates knelt on the field. Adair voiced his anger at her during the halftime and then benched her until the end of the match. Following her removal from the starting lineup and getting little playing time during the subsequent 2 games, Henning quit the team. Adair claims he never saw Henning refusing to kneel, and his actions were due to poor playing during the first half of the season-opening game with University of Virginia. But
if her version of the story is accurate, which I tend to think it is, let that sink in, that a white man is furious in benching one of his white female soccer players because she didn't kneel during the national anthem. Like, let that sink in.
claims he never saw Henning refusing to kneel, and his actions were due to poor playing during the first half of the season opening game with University of Virginia. But Judge Cullen wrote in his decision that a fair review of the records indicates concerns about an apparent rift in the team due to voicing support for the BLM movement. Cullen's decision gives a small victory to Henning, who must ultimately University of Virginia. But Judge Cullen wrote in his decision that a fair review of the records indicates concerns about an apparent rift in the team due to voicing support for the BLM movement. Cullen's decision gives a small victory to Henning, who must ultimately prove to a jury her account of the events is correct.
Interesting stuff right there. Definitely interesting stuff right there. But all right, it's 212 people in the building. Make sure y'all get the likes up, as Jackie Jack is politely suggesting right there. Y'all get the likes up. Super chat is open and all of that good stuff. Y'all know the deal. But let's go ahead and get on in. Go ahead and get on into the main topic. The title is, why is Dr. Umar Johnson still, I feel like I'm the boxing announcer, and still hating on Kevin Samuels from the grave? And I asked a question in the thumbnail. I asked, what's the question in the thumbnail? Let me pull it up. I should have it ready to go. The question that I asked in the thumbnail: are pro-blacks haunted? Are they haunted by the ghost of Kevin Samuels? Are pro-blacks haunted by the ghost of Kevin Samuels? There it is right. Oh, wait, no, y'all can't see that because that's a, yeah, should be able to see that. No, y'all can't. You can't. Okay, cool. No big deal. But all right, I was trying to pull up the thumbnail on the screen, but it don't matter. But yeah. So we about to go ahead and get into the main topic. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
I didn't support it at all.
Okay.
I thought it was divisive. I didn't support it at all.
Okay.
I thought it was divisive. I thought it was very Eurocentric in his approach to criticism. I think
Eurocentric in his approach to criticism. Whenever somebody says that, what they are essentially advocating for is essentially what I gotta quote George W. when he said, the soft bigotry of low expectations. The soft bigotry of low expectations. It's no such thing as saying that women need to lose weight and be more respectful to their men. It's nothing Eurocentric about that. Saying that men need to become more successful and be in a better position to demand or command that respect from the women, and to be in a position of power where they're operating from the authority position in that relationship. To say that that's Eurocentric, what? Okay, then ultimately, what are you really truly saying? Are you really truly saying that other men could be in positions of power and authority, but black men can't? But you operate from the, you know how they talk, peace and black power, or this or that, but you don't want men in position of that power. If you're pro-black and you don't want men operating from that position of power, then exactly who do you want in that position of power? One might say the women. I'm gonna play this. Ed, if you're available, I'll get you on this. Let me get through this, because you remember you said you wanted to get a piece of this. So let me get through this, and then I get you up on this, because you look like it sounds like you had a lot to go off on in the chat rooms. I'm gonna definitely get you up on this quick.
his expectations for women were very superficial in terms of what was important. There was a heavy focus on how much you make and how good you look.
Now, at this point in the game, it is a 0% chance that he somehow got it confused that Kevin Samuels was putting the emphasis on how much money a woman makes, which he didn't. He is the one who started a whole movement of men online that has damn near gone global, where men are now saying, we don't care how much you make. Kevin Samuels popularized that. Wasn't the first one to ever say it, but he's the one popularized that. So for Umar to pretend like he didn't understand that I don't like to call people liars, but I have a hard time believing that he missed that point. I have a hard time believing that he just somehow missed that one. I really do.
No woman is going to look good forever.
No.
They're going to get pregnant. They're going to get older. To me,
that is the reason why it's like it's the people who just try to just stand on his grave and straw man him as if they don't know. It's just ridiculous. That's why he advocated for women getting married young and being they get married young. That way they give their man, their husband, this person who's working hard for him, providing for him, all their best years of attractiveness and beauty and youth and all of that. They give them all of that. The reward is in the end is that, yes, eventually you're going to not be looking as good. But this man who's successful, who has built all of this, one, he don't want to lose it all, just divorce you how you take half of it. So the reward is in the end. You stay by his side, he stay by your side, and you reap the benefits of all of the work in the long run. But you bare minimum at least got to give him on the front end some youth and beauty. Nobody is saying that you throw them away and discard them after they've, raised your kids, gave you babies, and did their part. Nobody says they should just be discarded of. What happens more often is that after women do their part, a lot of them in these modern times, because it's so easy for them to do it, they go and file that divorce, and then they cut and run when they're, not as young and beautiful, so they cut and run, but they could have, and I mean, in the situations that, Kevin Samuels described, they cutting and running with money. So we're dealing with the straw manning of Kevin Samuels' part. Then we're going to get into the whole pro-black angle of this, and then why they have such an issue of what Kevin Samuels is talking about. But let's go.
Telling women that you are too fat or too small or too broke, and that's the reason why you don't have a man, that is.
He never told them they was too broke. Never told them they was too broke. Told them they was too those other things.
Or too small or too broke. Or too small or too broke. To me, telling women that you are too fat or too small or too broke.
He never told them they were too small. The only thing he legitimately told them is that they was too fat. He told them that they was, excuse me, he told women who were clinically obese and overweight that they were too fat for what they were requiring or asking for out on the market. He said, you've gotten too old, too fat, and too many kids by too many different men to be saying that you want a guy that's in like the top 10%, top 15%, top 20%, top 5%, which many of them was saying that they wanted. That was the argument. He knows that is the argument.
And that's the reason why you don't have a man. That is psychopathological, and it is destructive.
Not the reason why they don't have a man, but the reason why they don't have a man with the requirements that they laid out. It's nothing psychopathic or destructive about that.
To our community, I did not agree with his approach at all. And the fact that he did have a lot of people who did speaks to how decadent and speaks to how self-hating we can be as a people. And I'll be honest with you, I think a lot of the women who supported Kevin Samuels supported him because they don't like other black women, and they enjoyed sitting back on their couch, sipping their tea, and watch this black man tear black women's self-esteems to shreds.
All right. The link is in the chat for Edward Anderson, but my overall take on what's going on here, why a lot of the pro-black, particularly the pro-black men that are in the whole the practically the hustle game, so to speak. The hustle game, so to speak. And I don't even want to call it that, but the fact of the matter is that a big part of what he do is he captures the thoughts and minds, views, and perspectives of the black women who, the single motherhood rate, out of wedlock birth rate, and all that in the black community. The black women, they got the kids, they shape and mold the minds of the kids. He knows that if he has the black women, he has the black community. Kevin Samuels came along and changed the whole game, and now the whole thought process is different, and the whole Dr. Umar Johnson way of thinking. The whole Dr. Umar Johnson way of thinking is no longer the status quo. So his star has fallen. His support has fallen. He's gotten right there on the edge of having that school gotten right there on the edge of having that school ready to go, and now he's worried that he's still losing support because of Kevin Samuels, because the game has changed. The Black community are listening to other thought processes, other views, other perspectives, and not just the Black America pot is not only being stirred by Dr. Umar Johnson. Therefore, he is of the view that somebody like Kevin Samuels is the reason, the cause of him not having that stronghold on the community. That is essentially what he is talking about there. When he tries to say that it's destructive to the community, well, the straw man version of the argument, the version of Kevin Samuels that you just argued against, yeah, that would be a little destructive. But you didn't even argue from the perspective that he actually makes. All right, we say Ed, you say it's for I don't just put the link in the chat, not just for Ed, because I don't even know for sure if Ed's still here. So no, just go ahead and drop the link in there. I don't even know for sure if Ed is still here. You said this is what I call the polite effect. What is the polite effect? I don't know what you mean by that. Sodomy and Chicken in the building says, is Umar haunted by the ghost of... You know what? I forgot about that. I brought it up fairly recently on the show, but it wasn't even in my mind. The whole time I was setting up this show, it was never even in my mind that this individual who I still got a clip saved of, this individual here.
When women want things, especially when Black women want things, we get up, we say something, we talk about it, and we're going to talk about it till we're blue in the face and until we get those things done. A lot of the times what I find...
It was completely away from my mind that chick dude there pulled up on Umar presenting as a woman, and he didn't know, and had a whole conversation about Black male, Black female dynamics in America. And that was Hope Gazelle, the name was, spoke as a woman, and he addressed her as a woman, or him as a woman. And then after the fact, when he found out and he released a statement, she came out and was all, yeah, your little dick was hard when you was talking to me. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, that was bad. That was bad. That was one that it just is what it is. He got to hold that one. It's like, it's no way to get around that. And then Mr. Let Go messed around and got. She, it's confusing. Forgive me. But, Hope Gazelle pulled up on Mr. Let Go, talking about women and giving birth and this or that. And Mr. Let Go had a normal conversation with her, him, they, them. I don't know. And the point that I made, and where I'm at with it is, if one of them could be on camera, candid camera, presenting as a woman, and people didn't know, if one of them could be on candid camera presenting as a woman and one of them didn't know, good and well it's some avatars. Good and well with some avatars hopping up on panels. Good and well with some avatars hopping up on panels. Just that avatar hop up. You don't know who behind that avatar. It's some not quite gender specific avatars. It's just a remote possibility. If one of them can pull it off on camera, it's some of them somewhere pulling it off, but just straight behind the avatar. Probably been on panels forever. Avatar gate. Oh man, cut it out. Where was I at? But shout out to Sodomy and Chicken. It says, is Umar still haunted by the ghost of his tranny chasing? He wasn't chasing, but he got. He wasn't chasing, but he definitely got. It's definitely a L that he has to hold for quite some time now. But check reality. Calc. It's a stat site showing men. Hold on, I gotta drop this down temporarily so I can see that. He says, check reality Calc. It's a stat site showing men how likely they are to find their ideal woman in the US. I'll save that. Email that to me if you can, because I'm going to forget. My email is in the about section, or RM will probably post the email in the chat room as we speak. So you can email that info to me because I will forget. But no, thank you for that. Definitely thank you for that. South Paul 2K1 in the building says Umar blocked more black men in IR harder than 85 Bears. He blocked more black men in, what is IR? Interracial. What is IR? Oh, I think you're saying he cock blocked more men. Okay, got it. He blocked more men in interracial relationships than the 85 Bears. Okay, cool. 85 Bears are known for their defense, though. Oh, you think you mean IE? I mean IG? Ooh, y'all be killing me with these super chats. Y'all be killing me. You saying he blocked more men? If you said he blocked more men on IG, I can see him doing that. I mean, put it like this: it is some people that be, in the manosphere spaces that be pulling up. Y'all do be pulling up deep. Okay, he means IG. Y'all do be pulling up deep on people. All right, y'all do be pulling up deep. Y'all get on one. Y'all will pull up 100 strong on somebody's chat room. Okay, so interracial relationships. Okay. Yeah. Okay. He be getting his block on. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. But the moral of the story here with this was this. Hold on.
Official. And
the moral of the story here with this is that they, and when I say they, I'm talking about the status quo prior to, the whole Kevin Samuels effect. Because the Kevin Samuels effect, it wasn't just his channel. It wasn't just Manosphere channels. Every channel became a lightweight diet Manosphere channel after Kevin Samuels, to where the normal status quo of either you got to be either Umar or you got to be Derek Jackson, that's gone now. that's completely gone now, to the point to where if you could operate, move in a completely different way and get big and blow up, and get the views out there. So they're still trying to grapple with how Kevin Samuels have ultimately stirred the pot of society, or just the pot of social media, and how people think. The way that people think is just is different now. People always say, "Oh, ain't gonna make no change, ain't gonna make no difference." We seeing the change and the difference. Just look at the content on mass around Black YouTube. It's like you can't even have a lot of these Black YouTube discussions without averaging in some of the thoughts, ideas, and perspective from the Black manosphere into the equation. And Umar is grappling with that, and he can't deal with that. And his death throes, he's still trying to fight back at Kevin Samuels. But we are joined by Edward Anderson in the building. Let me drop this on down. Let me bring up Ed. I definitely wanted to get Ed's take on this one. I saw him kind of popping off in the chat a little bit, so I was like, all right, I got to get him up on this. So
yeah, I ain't gonna be here too long. You know how people get; they get all mad and shit.
Nah, fuck them. Go on and sound off.
First of all, kudos to your growth, man. I know you put a lot of investment in that stuff with the studio and everything, so it's always good to see that stuff pan out, man. Absolutely.
No,
tapping that pearly energy.
Oh no, you ain't seen nothing. Like, no, I'm gonna be doing a pearly style show. I don't even want to give her credit for it because I had the idea before her. I just been bullshitting, but but no, it's gonna be in studio guests, the whole thing, everything.
Get to it first now.
Yep. You know the deal. But no, that's coming towards the end of this month. Yeah, it's about to be an in-studio show, practically every show with in-studio guests. But all right, let's go ahead and get into it, man. What's your take on Umar, like I say in boxing, and still hating on Kevin Samuels? But go ahead.
Yeah,
What you got?
I'm gonna be measured with this stuff because ultimately we know we're right, so we don't need to do the fucking zoo animal bullshit. And the reason why I say zoo animal bullshit, that's not really a dig at Umar. When you look at a lot of follow me here, when you look at a lot of these purple pill podcasts, and that's not a dig at all, they're just showing where they're oriented at, like the Daily Rap Crew, Table 8, however, the podcasts that they're built to be more mainstream, right? A lot of times,
Hold on, wait,
unfortunately,
real quick. With the Purple Pill podcast, are they Purple Pill just
no.
because?
I'm not talking about the Purple Pill podcast per se. I'm talking about podcasts that operate more in the Purple Pill. That's more seeable in the mainstream. I know there's a podcast called the Purple Pill Podcast, but I'm talking about more
Oh,
Purple Pill
oh no,
oriented podcasts.
no. Yeah, I'm talking about those ones that you are saying Purple Pill
Oh,
oriented.
okay.
I'm saying what makes them Purple Pill? Is it the arguments that they're making, or the positions that they take, or just that they're having interactions, arguments, conversations, and debates with women? Because I think some people get confused by that. So like,
Well,
what exactly is making them Purple Pill?
so I could do a whole video on the different aspects of Purple Pill. Like you have the dudes that are selling the BS. Then you
Right.
have you have
The Hafiz and Derek Jacksons.
yeah, they hide behind Purple Pill, but really they're taking Blue Pill talking points. And because Purple Pill, I think, has more of the energy as far as the combination of the friction that makes stuff pop on YouTube, like with the questions that's going to be asked versus folks are willing to engage. Those are the ones that actually really a lot of times can pop. So you got a lot of them, because what are the blue pill people are going to sound like fucking Umar. It's goofy and it's not credible. So when you look at like a podcast like the Daily Rap Crew, they'll just have a conversation and throw questions at women about what do you like, this is this. And the reason why I use the term zoo animal is because black women will get on, just like how they, and not just black women, a lot of non-black women on Pearly thing, they'll just get on there and they'll just start squawking. They don't even understand. Like, okay, let's say you're a woman. Let's say you're like a Sherry Sandberg, a second wave feminist. And it's like, I want women to win. I want women to have as much power as they can get. But I also understand that there's certain consequences of certain things. So we have to create a climate that benefits women. And that requires a little bit more maneuvering and nuances than women might want to do. So what happens is you ask these women questions. They don't understand how this stuff makes them look bad. I saw a post that a black woman did, and she was it was like a Twitter post. No, it was like some Facebook post. And she was talking about how all these non-black men want black women. And there was a black woman that commented under that, said, basically saying, I agree that black women should expand their options, but the way you're saying it, I'm embarrassed for you. I'm embarrassed secondhand, because it's starting to make them really, really look bad, to the point where they're starting to have a reputation. But they don't understand that. Remember the Kevin Samuels effect. What did these black women do? They went on a witness stand and started snitching on themselves. So for guys that might not hear it from a man, because they always want to be contrarian, push back, whatever, I say gynocracy. When you're hearing these women constantly say this goofy stuff, you can't help but take it at face value, because you're hearing it's just coming at you so much.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Kevin Samuels, because I've been trying to pin down what exactly is Purple Pill content. Like, would you say Kevin Samuels content was Purple Pill content?
I would say Kevin Samuels is a term that I've dubbed rose pill content. If you look at the majority of his audience that really drove his shit, these are people that wanted to be married. These are people that you could probably classify as purple pill. That they know it's messed up, but man, I just still want to get married. But help either change these women or maybe navigate the landmines as to what I need to look for. So, but I wouldn't
navigating landmines of what I need to look for. That's very red though.
Not really, because red pill just says F the bullshit. I'm going overseas. I'm dating interracially. If you look at the people that are classified as red pill, SYSBM believes in marriage, but SYSBM is like, I'm not going to allow race get in the way of culture.
Yeah, some of them be passport. I mean, a lot of them have said they anti, or not anti, but they say they not red pill. They said they don't got to be all red pilled up because
Because they
going.
perceive red pill through the ideology of marriage. Because MGTOWs are the ones that are the most anti-marriage, but that's not the only people that are red pill. What makes SYSBM look bad in the eyes of is really just a problem black people have with them, which is you put culture over race. So they're seen as race traitors, even though that's not. So that's why they try to make it like you hate black women. So I don't want to spin this off. The point is there's nuances, and Umar. I promise Umar didn't even listen to a full Kevin Samuels show.
No,
Umar
well,
just got
based off what he said right there, it sounded like he didn't listen to a full Kevin Samuels show. Either that, or he was just flat out lying. And I didn't want to segue too long on the purple pill thing. It's just getting weird to me because I don't know what it is anymore.
Well, just like with a political party,
was BGS when BGS did BGS for women, was that purple pill content?
No.
All right, so it's almost like the line of demarcation.
Purple pill content is not based on if you talk to women or not. I mean, I've talked to women.
Okay, good. So it's what you talk about.
Yeah, it's really what values you promote is actually what it is. It's not even what it's just like as a you're a conservative, right? Now, you're conservative. There's certain values that you promote. Now that doesn't mean like 10 out of 10 you're on everything, but you're probably on 7, 8. With maybe some nuances on a couple of them.
Yeah, no, that's about accurate. I always say I'm right of center. Once you go too far over to the right, then I was like, nah, I gotta hop off the train.
Even still, even with the parties, there's multiple, different factions. And so what happens is you have people that really they're just watching content and not knowing what they're talking about. This is how you know the people that know what they're talking about on the one, or even somebody that's just trying to put everybody in a box. Like they said, like Hafiz said, oh, they're these others. Or Umar would say, it's the winosphere. I'm like, would you tell Kevin to his face that he was whining? Did he look like he was whining? If that's who you're talking about, that's the
boy. Jason Black like to say the winosphere too, but I ain't even about to get on
what it is they're advertising.
Self-promotion.
Here's the funny thing. These dudes will say, remember, Umar said Eurocentric. These dudes will sit here and say, and by the way, Jason don't like Umar because Umar's not a producer. So a lot of these motherfuckers don't like Umar because he don't produce shit. Umar is basically a homosexual at the peak. Without women, that nigga would be poor. Or kissing a white man's ass, which is hell on earth for him in a fucking school institution. That motherfucker would be a fucking history teacher in high school if it wasn't for women giving him. So my point is, he'll sit here and say black men, like a Stephen A. Smith, is cooning for the white man. That might be true, but the reality is, situation is, you're cooning for black women. It just flipped gender versus race. It's still why is that important? Yeah, it's because it's for my people. No, it's still a power dynamic. You've sacrificed your manhood on the altar of a chick. And here's why I say that for him, which is particularly egregious. This is what I wanted to talk about. Umar, what is Umar's principal job as to why he's in this space? Do you know? I'm just asking.
I don't know what his principal job is. He just talks pro blackity black, we black y'all stuff. I don't know.
Umar's principal job was to represent. He's a psychologist, whatever he says he is, the mental side, and he represents. He's a child psychologist. Black boys was his calling card. His principal job was to talk about what black boys are dealing with in school and their development, which is why a lot of black men got on board with Umar. Didn't get on board, or they would listen to what Umar at least had to say. This was the mindset behind the goddamn school. Umar has not only failed to create that school. Shout out to Dr. Steve Perry, who is on his 4th school that has performed and produced strong black boys and strong black men. And there's others that have produced these schools, these academies. Umar can't even put together one. And the reality of the situation is, number one, Umar didn't need a physical property to do this. Umar could have did it digital and then took it physical. He chose to do that because his ego, but whatever. His biggest crime is not that the school is an issue, but you could call that a failure versus a crime. His crime is he got away from the school, and he don't talk about black boys. He does what Boyce Watkins does, which, by the way, he don't like. Talk about boys. Why could you talk about social media? Well, that's what the fuck you do for promotion. Why? Because that's what the bitches like. The bitches like that shit. This is why when you talk about Serena Williams, you frame it as he can't handle Serena Williams, even though Serena Williams does what the fuck he says. Let's keep it real. Serena wanted to be married. He was the one that had to be cajoled to do it. And so the point is, he's not talking about these boys. That's his issue. And he knows if he talks about these boys too much, who is in custody of these boys?
Mm-hmm.
You can only say black men are just abandoning shit so much. That's a harder argument to make, because then it's gonna come back to, okay, you got kids by three different men, but they all abandoned you. At some point, you're just a dumb bitch. Let me stop cussing, fuck up, because respect the growth. But at some point, you just mismanaging, your sexuality. We'll just call it that. And so this is why why Umar don't debate nobody. You notice that? Because if Umar actually has to have Umar, I don't even think Umar would even debate a Dr. Tiasan Johnson, because there's certain questions that are going to be asked that he has to have an answer for, or he's going to look bad. He'll look beta, because he'll look like he's dodging. So what Umar does is he runs to these shows like the Breakfast Club. He decides to be a zoo animal for the Breakfast Club, because that's why they have you on there all the time. You do all these jazz hands and all this other BS, saying goofy stuff, and you go to all these platforms where you ain't really got to have a conversation. Because remember, even when Charlemagne was asking him questions like, devil's advocate questions, he started getting real animated and stuff. And shake his hand. It don't matter. These men, they need to stay. Because he don't have an answer.
Yeah.
Exactly like Hafiz did.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on that? Okay. And this thought just came in my head while you were talking. If instead of trying to build a school for boys, if he was trying to build a school for black girls, you think that I tend to believe that motherfucker went up and running 5 years ago. What you think?
If he, not necessarily, because he wouldn't be the face of it. It'd be a black female to be the face of it, and really, he wouldn't be. I mean, he wouldn't be the face of it, because in order for him to, he would have got more money. Yes,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The money's not why he didn't get it done. He didn't get it done because he's not a builder. I mean, it would have been more money for him to mismanage. If you ask him, would he have got enough money a lot quicker to probably actually put a school together? I'll give you that. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, answers yes. School still wouldn't have got built because it wasn't a money issue. I mean, look at Tariq Nasheed and his museum academy. I mean, he's getting money, but he ain't getting like overwhelming money.
Did he get that up yet?
Not yet. It's on his way. Okay. Because but he's not. And I'm not saying that everybody's not a builder. I'm not saying that. Umar, I'm not just straight trying to lay waste to Umar. Umar is the guy that you put out there to, for guys that like, look, I'm not talking to these stupid mofos, the peasants. You do that. And that's what you get paid for. A lot of your pastors aren't builders. They're talkers. And they're good at, you talk to the peasants. I'm actually doing the real work. And because I'm not going to be bothered with them and their goofy BS. You do it. And he's good at doing it. Weaving that stuff, and that's his role. And that's a role that moving the masses has its place. Obama has shown that. Definitely has its place. However, when you look at the structural things of what needs to be built, the dudes that are best builders, like, look, shout out to Robert Smith. I wouldn't say Robert Smith has as much of a talk game as Umar.
No.
I mean, no, but that's not what his focus is. Which one's more valuable? It's a lot of black men that are talkers. It's not a lot of black men that are builders.
Yeah. Freeman's Journal in the building with a $5 super chat. He says King Randall has a school. And shout out to King Randall. I actually reached out to him. I probably double back on that, sometime this year, try to get him on the show. I reached out to him. I try to do it again. I'm gonna get him eventually. I'm gonna get King Randall on here eventually. But shout out to Freeman's Journal. Thanks for the dropping. Well, no, that says Instagram. Well, I'm sure you click there, eventually you'll find his website. So yeah, go to his website, check him out, check out everything, support if you can. Sir Tice in the building, $5 super chat. He says that school bus. I noticed the quotes was supposed to be for boys and girls. Yeah, I don't read emoji very well, but he said, I think that's school bus. I don't know what that red block is. I don't know what that is. I can't tell. I don't read emoji very well. Oh, school bus book. Oh, that's a book. Had to zoom in. That's a book. Notice the quotes was supposed to be for boys and girls. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that.
I'm not supporting the school for boys and girls. What's the point? That's called you do. People can go to public school. They go to private school. They go home. I would support homeschool. Somebody that wants to do an initiative to teach people how to do homeschool. Shout out to Nomalinga Sally Moses. You know, a lot of the good people on Boyce Watkins never really got pushed. It was always the BS mofos for the most part. Yeah. But anyway,
well, hold on. I want to play this. I was trying to find this clip. This is slightly petty. I haven't listened to this in a while, but
I want to say this real quick. It's just 5 seconds. Notice Umar don't respect builders. If you look at black men are the builders, he don't really say he don't respect builders, which is another reason I don't like it, because he's a problem. He don't respect black men that build. Go ahead.
Yeah. But all right. Well, somebody had asked Umar a question that should not have been a complicated question, but he just gave a very dismissive answer, like it was an issue. So I'm just floating this out there. We could do. You can interpret it how you want to interpret it. But let's go.
How am I going to pay teachers? You are not a teacher, and you won't have to worry about that. All right? So
why did he get defensive with that question? that I find it problematic that he got defensive. I find it problematic that the answer wasn't just as simple as, well, there will be tuition to come to the school, plus contributions, donations, grants.
Because he didn't have an answer. So he did the clapback bullshit. Who likes that shit? Black men are like, see that as you don't have an answer. Black women see that is, yeah, man, fuck that motherfucker asking that question.
Yeah, you are not a teacher, so you don't have to. Okay, what if the person said, "Oh, actually, I am a teacher,"
and that matters because I fund school. If I fund schools, if I'm a fund this school, I expect black men to be pretty much it top down black men. I'm not funding no. If you want to fund a school that have black women teaching, I ain't saying no black women can be there, but black women teaching it, you might as well go to public school for that. You can go to your typical urban disaster zone.
That's an issue that I thought about, and I was hoping that he, leaped over this hurdle of there's already a lack of male teachers, then there's a lack of black male teachers. So he's saying this is black school for black boys, but yeah, if you just end up with a bunch of black women teaching in there, what's the goddamn difference? It's so
too many fucking questions, Bernard. Too many fucking questions.
Yeah, that's a problem he may run into. But at the end of the day, I am rooting for him. I'm rooting for him. I've been rooting for him from the start. I think we are somewhere, even if you crack some jokes on him.
There's other guys there's like 5 guys that are building schools. Ain't nobody need Umar to build his Afrocentric, magical Jim Jones. Like at this point, Umar is Umar need to start a church and he need to trade in whatever Hotep god he worships and just go to white Jesus and stop playing.
That's a good point. That he is more of a preacher. He could build the Church of Pan-Africanism.
He's a preacher without a church. He's a homo preacher.
If whatever he put into that school, if he would have invested the same amount of money, just got the same amount of donations, and built a big, beautiful building and called it the Church of Pan-Africanism, and I think he could pack that thing up. He could, I don't know how, come up with some witty way to get them to give 10%, and then there he got it.
But then he would be just like the pastors. The ego wouldn't allow them. I mean, my thing is this. Like I said, the issue I have with Umar is Umar's supposed to represent boys. He doesn't. Umar is a DICE agent. That is what he is. DICE stands for.
Explain that. Yeah, explain that for
DICE,
those
of y'all that don't know, stands for Dick Investigation and Customs Enforcement. And if you look at what he does on social media, every time somebody speaks, the first thing he want to say, I even think in the midst of Kyrie situation, he got a white woman. Everybody it's the white woman. It's always a white woman. Notice how it's like this obsession with white women that black people have, certain black people have that are pro blacks. It's like this. Like I'm like, yo, the Latinas are your real problem. Because if a dude can pick between a white woman and a Latina that's got the body type that he wants and a pretty much a white woman face, as a lot of black men perceive it, yo, that's 9 out of 10. I don't know why y'all even fronting. And to be honest with you, probably Latinas probably beat white women out on when it comes to like wife skills, training, all of that. Like the thing about the white women is they're the largest demographic in the United States. So there's
you
more
can't
of
miss
them.
Yeah,
there's more of them. But black dudes ain't really dealing with these skinny chicks. Shout out to Christian Hutchinson. Christian Hutchinson, fuck all that. He got it. So Asian shit. But
yeah, sodomy and chicken, cut it out, man. He says,
these boys are suffering, and
women.
Umar. Oh,
shout out to sodomy and chicken. That is Umar accepting trans women in his school too. All right, cut it out, man. Cut it. I don't think so. I think he gonna hold the line on that one. He gonna hold the line on that one. Cut it out. But go ahead. You was about to say something.
I'm not even gonna talk on the trans stuff because that's starting to get into the gray area. I got my views on that. I mean, I'm gonna say this. It's gonna sound bad. It's not bad for YouTube, but I'm gonna say this because I got a good platform. Yo, I personally think the race is devolving. The African American ethnic group, I think we're devolving. I think that's how bad it is. That when you got folks like Glorilla out there, we're devolving. Like, and people can get mad about you because and why do I say it that way? Because that sounds like some David Carroll stuff. I say it that way. It's because the argument, you know what the argument is? The argument is the vagina never picks wrong.
Oh, that's what it is. That's
terrible.
So that's a terrible argument.
but think about it. When you think of a lot of these game arguments or other arguments women make, they always say, well, at the end of the day, a woman's sexuality is tied to, genetic superiority. She's going to be so I get that height, physical build, all that. Obviously, biology that goes back to the, evolution, right?
Yeah.
But if you actually look at, I'm just gonna say it. A nigga like Lil Wayne is not a genetically evolved person. That's social currency he's operating on. So what happens is if you start having most of these rappers are actually not tall. It's this era, there's more taller ones like Future and stuff. But for the most part, rappers have not been tall. So if you're having sex with rappers, because everybody can't get the 6 foot dude, because there ain't that many of them. If you're even if you get the broke ones, if you're having sex with dudes that look like the rapper that you want to have sex with, but you can't access, and you're doing that over and over and over again, I mean, you see it in the women. Like a lot of these hormonally imbalanced chicks, crazy chicks. I mean, if you look at literally, we're dealing with the children of the crack era now. And it's this argument that women always choose the most genetically superior. That's actually not true. Because if that's true, they wouldn't be having sex with Arabs. They wouldn't be having, there's a lot of groups they wouldn't be having sex with that quiet as it's kept. They be having sex with. It ain't just white dudes because they can't always access that. So when you look at just a lot of, and this would fit in like how some conservatives think. When you look at how these arguments are getting adjudicated and stuff like that, and where the community is going, I'm not trying to be negative, but we're beyond a burning fire at this point. Now I know everybody don't care about the community and stuff like that. Why do I say it that way? I say it because Umar and guys like him, they look at, even if you look at the state of black men, black boys, black men, black boys, let's say 15 and under, can't read and write, can't do nothing. He ain't talking about that. What is he talking about? He talking about who Shannon Sharpe is sleeping with.
Yeah.
He's talking about, and why? Because that's going to lead back to who is raising these kids, who is selecting these mates. Do I care? I tell dudes, don't get angry, get a passport. They don't got to pick you, but that's not what it's about. It's about the product of who they're dealing with. And then everybody else is supposed to deal with it but them, to the point where we can't even talk about it. And he want to hide behind Eurocentrism. Like, that's the one thing that set me off when you said that in the beginning, how basically patriarchy is Eurocentric. So I guess slavery is the Pan-African way, because there has to be a social contract. There has to be a give and take. Men just don't. Manhood. This idea that the manhood is not defined by chattel labor. I don't know where he gets that from. By the way, Umar don't do that. So Umar's so many different things I could name.
Let me ask you this, because I understand you don't stand with them or agree with them, but you've listened to their nonsense enough. So if you had to assess, well, I already know your answer is probably going to be the gynocracy, but if you could flesh it out some more, what is the end game? Like they talk so much about black this, black that, peace and black power, black.
They're not builders, so they don't have one. But I will say to the first, what they want to do, to give you the closest thing to an end game, is they want black men to just be on autopilot and only deal with the black woman, never leave. They want black men to be chattel labor. They actually want black men to operate mentally. I'm gonna say this is gonna be effed up. Their end game is the same end game as white supremacy. They want black men to, without white supremacy having to operate, be mentally into a certain format to where white supremacy don't even got to exist. It's just like when you take that elephant and you put like a plastic chair there and it's not tied down, the elephant doesn't move. That is there. It's just for their own ends.
Because
that's their end. Now, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying when they start talking about, when you take the things that Kevin Samuels is talking about and you call that Eurocentric, what does the opposite of it look like? What does it look like if, what does success look like if it's not success where the man is the man is leading the family and successful, and the woman is acquiescing to him in raising children? Like, how are you pro-black and pushing back against that?
Their definition of leadership is chattel labor.
Man, it's like, that's crazy. Like, I understand you don't like that he calling him fat. Okay, argue with that. But to say that the general message was Eurocentric, it's like you're basically saying black.
Chick is Umar had sex with?
That part too. But he's basically saying black men aren't allowed to be men, or I guess he is. But black men on the whole, no.
Umar, first of all, Umar, the women, you see Umar with actually thinner than a lot of guys in the black manosphere, like, based on the arguments I've had with these niggas. He deal with pretty thin women. They're not thin, but they're not like thick. That's number one. Probably why that's, if you actually look, that's number one. Number two, Umar remember, when he gets mad, it comes out. Oh, I look down to the queen. You look up to the queen. I look down to the queen. So he has this. Remember, I told you the worst niggas are the niggas that'll say what's good for you ain't good for me. I don't gotta pay the same taxes you gotta pay, because me. So Umar believes that there should be this, what I call cedar class, where they can be kings without doing nothing. They ain't like they're warriors and they beat up everybody. They're Highlanders and they earn that right there. Nah, they get to just be king just off a genetic aesthetic. And then everybody else, Boyce Watkins, whatever, are just these beta male. It's an exaggeration of reality. Like you have basically Negro bucks, and then you have beta males where all they do is serve. This is his real ideology when you think about it. And I've heard him say this more than enough times. I don't want to hear what Umar. BGS said, well, Umar gets it. I don't care about that. Because the reality is that just shows me he's a coward. If you want to say something different in private versus in public, because there's a way of nuancing that out to where it doesn't come off as bad, to where you can kind of communicate subliminally. Look, I get it, but this is this. There's a way to do that. Even with black women, there's a way of doing that. But that's how he sees it. And remember what I said just before with that chattel labor autopilot stuff, that he wants to create. That is, I know y'all think I'm overselling it, but that is a gynocracy. The gynocracy is not just women. Y'all need to understand that's not a gender warring tactic. The gynocracy is a mentality. Think of it like this. It's an operating system. That's what it is. And basically, you got dudes that are on that operating system. This is why when dudes ask, why do you travel? It's like they cannot imagine you, Bernard. I know, you're conservative. You're not really on, let's say, the white supremacy, all that, 100%.
Yeah.
Here's my thing, though. How can black men, regardless if you believe in white supremacy enough, how can black men, with what black men have done for this country and what this country has done to black men, these are facts, whether you believe it's all systematic or not, facts, right? How can you be so pro-America? I'm not even talking about dudes in the military, that you are literally angry at people that choose to leave. You are literally angry at black men that choose to get a passport. And then you want to say, why would you leave America? Only opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, dudes literally get mad. And it's like, yo, I'm not, look, I'm a capitalist. I understand the benefits of being in America. I'm not on the F America tip. You don't really hear me with that, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, this idea that if I say I want to explore other places, because I'm not an expatriation type of dude. That's not my lane. That's other people's lane. That's not my lane. But I'm definitely on the global citizen tip. You're on this U.S. Like, they don't say it that way, but it's like, you black men. Why are you like, this ain't like a white dude that's a conservative doing this. This is a black, and by the way, none of these dudes are conservatives that I'm talking about. None of these dudes are conservative. They're not like, but they just do it on instinct.
Yeah, well, you raised a damn good point, because see, me personally, I like America, but I'm not mad when people leave. he made his life's work criticizing America and everything wrong with it, but he's mad that black people want to leave it.
Yeah, you're talking about pro-blacks doing, and by the way, pro-blacks doing this. And the thing is, most of the passport bros, you gotta, it's like maybe 30%, I would say, maybe 35%. That, they'll be on like the grievances of America, but most of them is said, look, the reality is the quality of life aspect is one part, but it's really more, the quality of life aspect is a big part, but it's not on some, oh, America's bad, so I'm just leaving. It's really the laws are just not attainable to doing what you're trying to do when it comes to long-term relationship. And even BTS said they don't make wives here. They just don't. Right. And you can go SYSBM and mitigate that, by dealing with a chick of another race. But a lot of black men don't want to do that. They don't. And but if you go to Africa, that's like the universal exception. But like I said before, man, I've laid all my cases out. It ain't just I don't like Umar because he's saying stuff against black men. I think I've laid my cases out pretty well on the actual legit grievances. So I'm gonna leave y'all here because I know we got other folks who want to rock. And
don't go, Ed. I wanted to respond to something you said. I agree with you mostly, with one little caveat, if I may. I mean, I don't want to jump Game Changer.
Go ahead.
No, because I want to leave. So
if Ed about to leave, we'll skip Game Changer and go to. Sorry,
it won't be a long monologue.
Yeah, let's let them talk out whatever they about to talk out real quick. Go ahead, Pablo.
So Ed was saying that Black American culture or Black Americans are devolving.
African Americans in specific is what I'm talking about.
Right. Black foundational Black Americans are devolving. I would agree with one caveat. There is about a tenth, i.e. talented tenth, of Black men who are now practicing what they call in Latin culture, mejorar la raza.
So I don't mean like 100. I mean, understand what I'm saying. Like if it's 51% of black people, technically that would fulfill the requirements of me saying us as a group. Yeah. I've always said 1 in 5 black women got common sense. I've lowered that to about 15%, and it might be getting readjusted, again. But of course, there's I've also always said black. So you got 44 million Black Americans that are qualified as that, and then you got about 40 million, because 10% are not ADOS. You got about 40 million that would actually be African Americans. Maybe so. Let's say 35. Let's say 36 is like not it's like ADOS. So I've always said that you got about 25% that 20% that operate within, okay, these are useful. And remember, that's like 10 million right there. But as far as if you want to really put a number on who do I qualify is actually either devolving or they won't let go of the people who's doing that, I'd probably say you're about at 50% at this point. Maybe you're about right there at 50-55%.
Yeah.
And then that other side are people that like if common like you they if you get them around other people, they'll be reasonable.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing, with the Passport Bros and SYSBM and just the guys that are just, following other making other better decisions for themselves. I see a glimmer of a group that will leave that permanent underclass behind and will be looking at them from afar.
But everybody ain't in a permanent underclass now, and
Right.
I got to be careful with that La Raza thing because that's talking about aiming for light skinned folks,
Well,
which is one of the tags whitening stuff, which is one of the tags that SYSBM gets. Which is I know I'm not SYSBM, but I'm just saying that that's not what it is. If it happens to be that way, it just is what that is. But for the most part, even with the Passport Bros, a lot of the Passport Bros do be looking for black women.
Well, let me give you the history of it, how it evolved in Latin America, and then you'll understand.
Well,
first of all, in Latin America, these countries had slavery too. What they didn't have is 100 years of Jim Crow after.
I'm very aware of this, man. This is not
All
good.
Right. So what happened is, after slavery was over, many people recognize that you cannot have a slave culture as your culture. It will not work. And so La Mejor La Raza is not just about skin color. It is about leaving the slave culture behind and going with the dominant culture.
Yeah, man, but like I only see this is where we get into like dicey stuff because like for something to be small, because the reality is Argentina basically sent a lot of black people to war just to kill them. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff depending on the country you talking about. They imported white folks. They did it does come down to a worship of whiteness to a certain extent. You can argue it however you want to argue it, but I wouldn't even say that that's what black men are doing. Like when I say devolving, I'm talking about the culture is very overwhelming at this point, and it's to the point where nobody is talking about it. And then when you look at the sexual habits of a lot of folks, you could argue, yeah, I'm saying they're devolving to a slave culture. But what you're essentially doing, I want to make it very clear, I am not saying what you talking about. That what you saying and what I'm saying is two completely different things.
Well, here's the thing, though. If you hold on to that slave culture, it doesn't matter what you call it.
Yeah, but black people never. But the thing about it is, when I say, what is the point of devolving? Meaning you're at a point and you're going down. Okay. It's not. So it's not like okay. Well, hold on. What you're saying? They had a slave culture. Again, they had it. No, I'm not done yet. They had a slave culture after. They had a slave culture in Latin America after, and then they said, where do they want to go? Where do they want to go as far as creating their hierarchy? African Americans have already had that journey, and we've hit a peak. From our peak, we are definitely dropping off, and nobody wants to talk about that because we about to go into Black History Month. People want to talk about what we used to do versus what the fuck we're doing now. So we're talking about two different things at two different peaks in time. They were at the bottom looking at, okay, where are they going to go now that they have independent country from Eurocentric empires? This is why you got a lot of these people that could look like Sammy Sosa talking about I'm not black. And they're not doing that because, oh, no, I don't want to identify with slave culture. If you actually talk to these people, that is not what they're talking about. And I'll say this, Pablo, even if I give you that that's originally what they were on, that's not what they're on now. That's not what they've been on for the last 40 years. That's not what that is.
Here's my question that because Pablo just asked Ed a question. I want Pablo to clarify what he meant. You had asked Ed, the ship is going down. Either you're going down with the ship or you're not. How? In what way is Ed going down with the ship, or do you mean Ed exactly?
So you only have two choices. You can either evolve and become a part of the dominant mainstream culture of this country, or you can go back, as in devolve, with the culture that you're leaving behind. There ain't no other.
Oh, okay. I guess my question is, in what way is Ed going down with the ship?
He's clinging on to the previous culture as
how
he's still continuing to hold on to skin color.
Dude, you're projecting, man.
Holding on to skin color as the measure, when skin color is just the outward trapping of the culture. It's not the culture, though. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
That's not. Hold on. Let me go, Bernard. That's not what I'm talking about. And that's the thing with you, Pablo. You like to take square pegs and jam them in the round holes, man. The thing about it is, this is a different. This is part of what makes opens a lot of passport bros to attack. I'm an options guy. Everybody's grown, whether they're 21 years old or they're fit, to the end, they're grown, right? So men are going to make decisions based on what they want to do. I may have suggestions as to what my opinion is, but ultimately my primary job, at least what I try to do on my channel and what I generally hope I articulate out here when I'm not on it, is I'm an options guy. Here are the options, you pick. Well, what should you pick? Well, if it was me, I'd do this, but you ain't me necessarily. So I may explain in detail what those options are, but I don't typically judge the options unless the options are running deception or interference with somebody else, mainly by way of deception. So when I talk about skin color, I am acknowledging that there are African American men that want a phenotypically black woman. They just don't like the damn software. Okay. So, and I mean, hold on. The black man's option, which was one of the original passport groups and really pushed it before it became popular, that was one of the monikers that they had. And so if people don't want to be on that, fine. But it's almost like, you notice how I didn't say it's either this or that. That's what you brought into the conversation, which is very similar to how a lot of guys that attack passport bro talking about, well, either you stay or you're a lame.
Well, it's bigger than that, Ed. And I try to put it this simple. Like, I'm not hearing Ed. Okay, the area where we all agree is don't deal with, subscribe to, or lay in a cesspool of all the bullshit that's in the culture. We all agree with that. But how do you say that, but you're still hanging on to what's black? I mean, SYSBM got black in the title. It's save and black in the title. It's
but see, Ed
save black men is in the title. Hold on. Save black men is in the title. Save black men is in the title of Save Yourself Black Man. So it's like
ain't nothing black in passport. Ain't nothing black in passport, bro.
Yes, the men,
bros.
The men. Hold on, top. Yeah, bros. The men who you are emboldening to get passports, they're black. So it's like you're criticizing him for acknowledging blackness, but your movement also acknowledges blackness and needing to get away from the bullshit that goes on within blackness. Y'all are on the same team.
Passport Bros is not a racial movement. It never has been.
That's not true. That's a lie.
It never has.
I'm not. That's a lie. We've always gonna sugarcoat that. No, Pat. Let's be clear here. Passport Bros is not a deviation from SYSBM. Passport Bros is technically its own thing. Remember, before SYSBM, you had Charles Tyler Black Man's Option. There was stuff that predates that. And then so when you keep and you're representing something that you're not the chairman of what Passport Bros is, Pablo.
There is no chairman. There is no chairman, but
so speak for yourself.
It was never about choosing quote unquote, racial phenotypes over others. It was about choosing better culture over another.
Yeah, again, but within that, certain dudes want, because the argument was a lot of dudes. The reason why a lot of dudes. This is why I brought in the term intercultural dating, because a lot of dudes want they great. And look, I agree. A lot of dudes are not building this money, building this wealth for to have kids that don't look like them. That I'm saying for the guys that believe that. I'm not gonna sit there and get in front of these niggas say, well, y'all just devolving. Y'all can't get around that brown.
No, that's
and y'all need to go get a white chick or light skinned chick, quote unquote, culture. No,
That's
they
not what I'm
no,
saying.
hold on. They're telling me where are these chicks that got good culture but are black? Okay, Salvador Bahia. Oh, there's Colombia. Oh, let's talk. Y'all act like the majority of slaves or the majority of black people came to North America. That's not true. So let's expand upon that. Intercultural ain't just Latin America. You know, it's my thing is about awareness. Black people don't talk about culture. We barely use the word.
Well,
Just like
that's
how
their
these
fault
don't use the word
that they don't
divorce. We
understand
don't.
it.
That's
That's
not
their fault.
no. They intentionally no.
You were the first one that brought up when I talked to. Never mind.
They do no. They avoid it because if they didn't, you can't always miss what you don't understand. You got to know what something is in order to constantly avoid it.
I get frustrated with these conversations.
This was a small
because,
thread, by the way.
Yeah, Ed and Pablo, y'all agree on so much to where I don't even understand what the argument be about. The only difference is Ed don't want to mess with somebody, a chick who's definitely just got her heels dug into black culture, gynocracy culture. Ed ain't messing with that long term.
I understand.
So,
I'm not messing with that either. And if you don't believe in the gynocracy, just think about a feminist. And by the way,
exactly. So that hold on, but all of those points is why y'all agree. The only thing is that you would like it sounds like Ed, you would like your genetic lineage to be phenotypically black, but you understand that doesn't mean you have to get it from Black American culture.
I'm light skinned. I have a lot of wiggle room for that, me personally. But it's not even so much me. Yes, yeah, I do have that, but I have more wiggle room than maybe somebody your complexion if you had that same ideology, right?
No, he didn't like my example of the Latin American equivalent because of what it quote unquote evolved into. Not what it originally, quote unquote.
Okay, but I don't mean to be an asshole. I really don't. But the swastika was a symbol of peace before Hitler got a hold of it. So what it originally was don't matter. It's what it evolved. It's what evolved into that ultimately matters. And all the arguments you made that argument when you got you got folks that are activating that in legal policy that's gotten their hands in the cookie jar in California. They just got caught with their hands in the cookie jar over that crap. So this is not some goofy. I mean, you got Latins complaining about that. Real talk, Latin blacks. So this is not something you're romanticizing some really serious stuff. And it's kind of like I don't want people to use what you're doing and associate that with other people. That's what I'm saying. Because what you're typically here is not even so much the point. It's why you're making it. You're pretty much digging a canal and basically trying to redirect stuff into what you want. My thing, I've always been like, you can do what you want. I know what I'm going to do. This is why I tell black women they need to date white. Because they say black men are killing them and black men are doing it's cool. Stop dealing with black men then. Because at that point, you're making a decision. And it's like, no, well, what it really should be is we really should be together. Well, if we're going to be together, here's this social contract. I'm not negotiating on it because I think it's very reasonable. No. Well, there's nothing to have a conversation about. You do you, I do me. But see, you don't leave it at you do me, Pablo. You're on you need to do what I'm saying. Otherwise, I'm going to label you.
Well, I didn't say that. I did absolutely
you
not.
Up, Bernard.
I didn't even allude to it. I was telling you a cultural story of.
You said either this or that.
You didn't.
I never said that
before you interrupted me
All
either.
right. I want to get Game Changer in this, and I want to get to my super chat. So shout out to Hoop Jargon in the building. Hoop Jargon Media Network says I taught 4 years. Umar out of his mind, thinking he doesn't have to pay men to teach. He didn't exactly say that. He just looked real uncomfortable when somebody asked him how he's going to pay the teacher. He did. Yeah, all right, peace, Ed. Peace. Thanks for coming up. Appreciate you. He just looked real uncomfortable when he was asked that question. But Christian Hutchinson in the building says we are devolving it. I think it's by design to create permanent underclass to economically exploit. Need people exploit to keep the money flowing to the top. That is sort of how capitalism works. Sometimes I don't even necessarily say exploit, even though it kind of is, but I mean, people up high up at the top build a lot of stuff, and the people at the bottom that work for people at the top use their money to buy the stuff from the places and companies that the people at the top build. Like that's essentially capitalism. The idea is to build your own shit to where you're not stuck only being a worker bee and a consumer at the bottom. Sir Tice in the building says patriarchy, Eurocentric, misogyny, all dog whistle terms for the low IQ types he panders to, including the males. Talking about Dr. Umar Johnson saying that a lot of the ideals and things that Kevin Samuels talked about was Eurocentric. I agree. I think that is some nonsense. That is some nonsense for him to say that it's Eurocentric for, for black men to operate in that way and for black women to operate in that way. Freeman's Journal in the building says Umar is insecure. If black people integrate, where does he fit in? On the bottom, he guesses, so the gynocracy must continue, and the key to that is the queens. Yep. Definitely. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that. Kenneth Williams in the building with the $5 super sticker. Woke Quill in the building says Smithsonian stated the nuclear family, rational objective thinking, and hard work leading to success are white concepts. Anything good is Eurocentric. Yep, I was definitely getting into that. I didn't remember exactly the place that basically said that, but yeah, it was somewhere on the internet. They did put out something where they named a bunch of stuff that sound like good things that people should do, and they said, oh, these are all Eurocentric white things. So yeah, black people not supposed to do what's good. Anyway, Harambe in the building says, stop speaking for most black men. Consensus is we do want other races of women. Now you're speaking for most black men.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
yeah. But all right. GC, you got the floor, you got the mic. Thank you for your patience.
Oh yeah, no problem. So culture is basically is a way to exploit black people, basically. Now we all want community and things like that. We all want a sense of something that's our own. However, when we had that thing, what you notice is you got to ask yourself, how did that end and why did it end? You see, in order for a culture or community to thrive, you have to have people putting into it. And of course, it's something that people take out of, like part of a community would probably be like a church educational system, or things that, you have people donating to the church or to the community, and then you have people in need taken from it. Now, what's been going on with Black Americans for quite some time is we have looked to exploit others within the community and not really give into it. Take family, for example, right? So a network of families is very healthy for a person's upbringing. Mm-hmm. They have mothers and fathers, and then they have a collection of people who they basically was raised in a village. That is what the community has given them, a village that raised them. Now, if they were to grow up and say, get on welfare or not take care of their kids, or not really contribute to the community by being a part of the village that takes care of other kids, then that is them taking from the community and not giving back to them, excuse me. And if you have enough of that, then what you have is the community that we have now. Now, what people like Dr. Umar Johnson is doing is they're saying, I want you to rebuild said community. And I'm not going to, it seems like he's saying, I want you to rebuild said community so we can take from it again. He's of an age to where he received the best from the community. But he didn't, well, I guess the school is his attempt to put back into it, but the school isn't built. So he's not, it does seem like he's looking to re-exploit the community. It's kind of like somebody said in the chat room, a parasite. See, a parasite will continue to take from a host until that host is no more. Once the Black community is no more, they're not looking for a new host because nobody else is going to accept the parasite. So what they're doing is they're saying, okay, I want to revitalize this host so we can continue to feed off of it. So that's my 2 cents on that.
All right, cool. Definitely. Good stuff there. That's a fair analysis of Dr. Umar Johnson. I guess I'll recircle back a few things that I talked about or brought up earlier in the stream. A few things I talked about. Well, I'll play this clip real quick just in case y'all didn't see that. Just let me know your thoughts on this. How he just seemed patently uncomfortable by this question.
How am I going to pay teachers? You are not a teacher, and you won't have to worry about that. All right? So.
Yeah. A lot of...
Why you have smoke for the person that just asked the question?
That's a lot of buck dancing around.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could be that he interpreted the question of how much is he going to pay the teachers, but I don't think that that's the case. I think that he wanted to be a volunteer thing. And once again, that would be an example of taking from a community. You know, there do exist entities where people volunteer their time to become teachers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. People do it all the time. In fact, you know, the Chinese are notorious for having tutoring programs that's associated with their church. So it's not really a major or a big ask to ask citizens to volunteer their times to teach the next generation of youth. However, these are things that you get in a healthy community. You know, these are healthy community things. This is things that, you know, kind of like if a country having a healthy Navy, Army, Air Force, and stuff like that, that is a byproduct of a country with a good economic system and, you know, extra coins in the bank, so to speak. Yeah, we're not at that stage yet.
Well, you know, it would be, as a college educated man myself, and have several classmates who were in education, most of whom left. College educated Black men tend not to stay in education for a long time unless they become principals and administrators. That's a trend I've noticed. Pay is one of the reasons. And so a lot of times frustration with the administrative constraints on them actually helping the kids.
Well, I mean, it's when you have the volunteer thing, where pay isn't really, because if you're volunteering, chances are you're not going to get paid. And we're not really talking about people who do education as a career, but people who volunteer, like something on the side, like, you know,
Well,
okay.
It would be hard, though, Game Changer, to operate a full-time school with only volunteers. That's a heavy lift.
It would be,
even for volunteers.
It would be, and it is. People who do things like that tend to not call it a school. What I noticed that that Black people do is, and I'm talking about like the pro-Black types, is they give aggrandized titles to everything that they do. It's always the crappiest version of something. You know, like they'll have like, you know, a few pieces of art on a wall and they'll call it a museum. You know, they'll have a nigga with a motorboat and a gun and call it a Navy. You know, like they really. So they really call molehills mountains is what they do in order to make it seem like they did something greater.
They play fast and loose with the word nation.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been trying not to go. Yeah, I've been trying not to go in on that one. You know, it's like Well, I mean, you obviously understand Nation of Islam. A lot of the Black Israelites, they refer to what they have as, you know, a nation, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, anyway, so yeah, it's a lot of playing fast and loose with certain words. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, and school is one of them. But I mean, if you have a room full of kids and, you know, some volunteers that is willing to teach them, then that's a school. But I think that we have a different definition. I think that what he's building is probably the most ghetto version of a school that we can imagine. It's not as big as it seems. Therefore, it's something that can be sustained through a volunteer system.
Yeah, good point, SKC, with family. Yeah, that family gets played fast and loose with as well. This is my thought, and now a part of me does feel like, okay, doing something is better than doing nothing, and I don't like to criticize people who are either doing something or trying to do something. So sometimes I do want to pump the brakes on some of the criticism, but it is worth pointing out, like, what's the quality of education if it's done by volunteers? Because I'm going to assume that people who put time, effort, energy into actually getting an actual teaching degree got some student loan debt and bills and stuff they have to pay. So it's like, it does make me wonder or question,
Well,
the,
his
the,
school.
the
Now,
quality of
I
the.
give you pushback there. And
Okay,
that's
go ahead.
because that. Okay, so I mentored, and yes, I am better than many teachers out there. In
Okay.
fact, most all of them. And simply put, because if I was worse, I would be a teacher. You see, our educational system, because of things like Pablo was saying, the low pay and things like that, is really comprised of people who aren't really cut out for the outside of teaching. I mean, okay, put it like this. Google is full of people that can teach, but your local junior high isn't full of people that can work at Google. So, it's one of those things. It's you have to have another motivation in order to do it. Now, if a person is retired from Google or the military or what have you, and say, okay, I want to teach on the side, then that person would be definitely adept at doing so.
Yeah, I could see that, but I mean, it is like the example that you initially gave. You work a job, you make your money, and then you volunteered, or it's something you're doing on the side. As far as doing it full time, that is a different thing. But either way it go, me and Ed talked about that. Ed said he like, fuck Umar, he ain't rooting for him. I'm actually rooting for him to succeed somehow. So sometimes when you start talking shit about men talking, call it the manosphere, or we'll call it whatever you want. When you start talking shit about men who talk on YouTube, then I tend to respond to it. But at the end of the day, I do want to see him do well. But there's certain things that pop up. Like, for example, this is something me and Ed talked about. I do want y'all to take on this. How's that going to play out? There's already a shortage of male teachers. Then there's already a shortage of black male teachers. And then when he come to putting his school together for black boys, it seems like most of the teachers, just by the numbers, will probably end up being black women. It's like, okay, how's that any different?
Well, one of the primary goals of the sisterhood is to manipulate the minds of children. That's the only way it's going to work. That is really what it's about. Manipulating the mind of children, making sure that the women are gynocratic women themselves, who influence the children, and or gynocratic minded men who influence the children. So no matter what, and because the women are the mothers of the students that must volunteer to be in this educational system, it's only going to work if the teachers are gynocratic. If not, they're going to pull their kids. And trust me, I know this isn't the first mentor program that I've been a part of that was for blacks. And yes, I have been, I want to say kicked out, but my views were too patriarchal for what they wanted for their children. And this is the women and the men. This is the women and the men. They will.
Wait, how was your views? How was your views too patriarchal? I mean, you're there to teach math. What? How did you slip in some?
So, in addition to teaching math, what we did was every month we had a portion where we selected a historical figure, like Marcus Garvey or something like that. And I would, in order to relate to the students, because that wasn't my thing. However, in order to relate to the students, I did read and I did keep up on it, and also to work as a substitute when the person or people who were to do that portion weren't there. So I did participate that in the beginning, and then I noticed that what happened was a lot of the figures that they were covering, this was way before I was in the manosphere or anything like that, were gynocentric. It was almost retarded, or well, I can't say that word, but it was very stupid. They would do things like promote Winnie Nelson over Nelson Mandela, for example, saying that he wasn't pro-black, and so the thing was, I got pushback for things like that. They would say certain historical things that didn't happen, and I would basically push back on that because I don't believe in teaching false history. And yeah, so my views became apparent there. It's not like I was misteaching the kids. I was really questioning their teaching of their own kids. I would say something when talking about colors and color relations that white is the presence of all colors, while black is the absence of all colors. And I would, Winnie Mandela. Why I say Winnie Nelson. Yeah, Winnie Mandela. But I would say things like white is the presence of all color and black is the absence of all color, which is a true thing. But I got pushback for that. And I was like, well, I can't change that. I didn't make this rule, but you ever notice how when you turn off the light, it's black? Like it got pretty bad. So I wasn't really working with their pro-black woman narrative, and they didn't care that I was helping kids who were failing their math pass. They like stuff like that really didn't matter to them.
And yeah, Game Changer, to what Game Changer is saying, a lot of my college classmates who work in school systems like Prince George's County school system, Fairfax County, and in Virginia, they face those same issues and things that he is talking about. And it literally drove them away from the profession. And yeah, that's why you don't, it's part of the reason you don't see a lot of black male teachers, is because part of it is pay and advancement, right? The other part is the amount of crap that you have to swallow in order to get a check. And for a lot of guys, they're just not, they can't do that, especially when they're fairly well educated and have some, some pride about themselves. They'll check out.
All
Yeah.
right.
And there was also a belief, which is very unique to black people, which makes us collectively stupid. And that is a belief that science and mathematics is Eurocentric, and so are those who are advocates of it.
Yeah, my college roommate was a math teacher in Prince George's County. He did that for several years, and then he left to become a Prince George County police officer. Lo and behold, he makes a lot more money than he did teaching.
Yeah. So I think that he's going to come across that obstacle.
Yeah, Sodomy and Chicken and Builder $2 super chat. He says most black history is really black mythology. I wouldn't go that far with it, but I mean it's so crazy.
He has a valid point.
Well, go ahead and elaborate. Even I'll just say this, that it's just so crazy. Just even if I just take the fly on the wall approach, listening to black people talk about history at this point in the game, and I guess I'll blame the internet, where we just have so many different Marvel origin stories about where we came from, how we got to America, what happened here, what happened there, and that's just like. But anyway, go ahead. Let's go ahead and substantiate that claim. That
I'm just so if you talk about African American history, which is highly recorded even in video because it's been such a short in recent history for us, then I would say that's not mythology, but that's not what he's talking about. He's not saying African American. He's talking about He's talking about historical African history, like, or
Yeah.
excuse me, pre-slavery history in Africa. Most of what people say in that regard is fabricated to such a degree that it's not. And I'm not talking about most of what general or standard or formal education on it is, but I'm saying like most of the pro-blacks, they slanted to such a degree that it does mirror mythology. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there's some truth in mythology as well. I'm pretty sure that there was a living person named Zeus that did kill his father named Kronos. However, I don't think he shot lightning from his fingers. There is a lot of ridiculous exaggeration, in African history that we have in order to ward off the stigma of slavery and colonialism that it borders lunacy. Now, I don't really mind that, just like I don't mind teaching a kid the existence of Santa Claus. I do mind when it's ridiculously gynocratic, and that's what I was.
Hold on, I gotta stop the show because SKC loves to try to pretend to not understand me. He said the Black Enclave. When I talked about a Black Enclave, I'm not talking about no different from what you're technically doing, where you're, like I said, so you're part of an organization that got Save Black and Man in the title. So you are essentially also in a roundabout way, also trying to create a Black enclave of those. You ain't trying to save the dregs of society, but the Black men who got their head on straight, who wanna just at least be open to a different way to move and operate and function in a better way. You are about separation from the nonsense and community with them. Otherwise, you wouldn't be a part of an organization called Save Yourself Black Man. So don't try to win a previous argument on the previous show when I talked about a Black enclave with people who are of a certain mind, who are Black, move and operate in a different way, separate and apart, and you're part of an organization that's doing the same thing too. Don't come up here straw man in SKC. You're my guy, but don't come with the nonsense. Don't come with the nonsense. Go ahead, Game Changer.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But what I was saying is, much like the Woman King, the movie The Woman King, is an is a historical exaggeration, or just really in many ways a flat out lie. They do a lot of that, and it's to the same purpose of movies like The Woman King, and that is to aggrandize the concept of gynocracy, making it appear as if gynocracy is something that's innately Black and historically has always been Black, which couldn't be further from the truth. So that is the truth that I push back against. If they want to say that, there was a big head genius that invented white people, it's okay, it's ridiculous, but so are some white mythologies like, Thor, who is still part of a Marvel comic today. I don't really care much about that. But when you try to instill gynocracy into a group of young Black men, and unfortunately what's going on as a result of this thinking and upbringing is a lot of Black boys are fall into the category of what I call stupid or extraordinarily lazy.
Okay. Think about lazy minded. Why you look at this shit? Clue Channel. Why you don't got the same? Be y'all rocking hard for Black. Why you don't make the same argument towards someone who has Save and Black in the title of their organization? Quit trying. It's like you just want to depict and typecast anybody who uses the term Black, but you don't mind when other people use it. We understand what we're talking about. JC the Conqueror. What do you talk about? Guys in the Black Manosphere want to save the burning building. I just talking about separating from the burning building. SKC, Pablo, Pablo, Game Changer, and SKC, who I'm arguing with, all agree with separating from the burning building. Everybody here believes in that. So what the hell are you talking about? Yeah. This is not to save the burning building space. The Negro who in
terms of what was important.
That's to save the burning building guy. Him right there. The person who I'm refuting and debunking his nonsense today is the person who's the save the burning building guy. The guy who's constantly attacking this space is the save the burning building guy. How do y'all mix that up and lump that in? Like,
Bernard,
how does that work? Okay, He just kidding. All right. Hey, so many people come with so many bad arguments. I don't know who's just I don't know. I don't know who's who. There's so many bad arguments. BR isn't isn't a save a burning building guy. No, the Umar types are the save the burning building guys. The people who attack this space are the save. Well, I can't. Well, never mind. That's a whole other thing. But hold on, real quick. I got you, Pablo, in a second.
Okay.
Too Cool for School in the building says in the house. What's up, BR and GC? Shout out to Too Cool for School. Do appreciate you. Salute. All right. Go ahead, Pablo.
I want to say something about the Umar Johnsons and some of the pro-blacks that really go hard for the community, particularly black men who go hard at other black men for making other choices. And that's this. There is a group of black men, and somebody that I admire here on YouTube said this, and I'm going to paraphrase. I can't remember who exactly it was. But what they said basically was there is a group of black men who, if we were able to, quote unquote, change the cultural momentum of the community, as we say, these particular men would not know what their place was in that new dynamic. And that bothers them. And so they want to kind of keep things the way that they are so that they know their place in it.
Let's hold on. Let's explore that. What do you mean by they wouldn't know their place in the new?
Well, let's say the dynamic of Black America went to something more similar to what is the dominant culture or the dominant cultures of most countries, which is men being the providers and protectors and the breadwinners, and you ain't getting by on swag and mouthpiece. You gotta actually produce something, right? Now, will those same men have the profile and the ear of the people?
Right.
Because right now, a slick talking Memphis preacher with no education can have a mega church and bring in millions of dollars and drive a Rolls Royce. But if you change that dynamic and it's less on charisma and style and more on actually completing something, where does that guy go?
Yeah, it sounds like somebody trying to some weird background noise. Well, okay, there will be I think there will always be those people who are exceptional at fast talking. Like I don't think that guy necessarily disappears. It does sound like the at the lower level, it do sound like the incompetent guy who got a lot of swag doesn't get on as well for as long. It does,
right.
It does
wears thin pretty fast in a different environment.
Yeah, now that was something that I noticed when I started examining, some black men that push back against some of the things that's said in this space. I was like, yeah, they're fighting and pushing back because they don't want to see it change. They want to see everything stay exactly like it is, even though they've been on record talking shit about the way things are. The fact of the matter is they're able to thrive in the chaos. If things got structured, they could be the king of the chaos. They could be the king of the ashes. If everything is burnt down, they could be the king of the ashes. Everything is built up and functional. Yeah, then they can't rule over that.
Yeah,
So
they can live in the book of Eli. Yeah, they can live in the book of Eli and post-apocalyptic destruction. But yeah, when the civilization is restored, then what? Yeah.
Well, I mean, most of them really can't. And they like to appear as if they are. Really what's going on is they just want other people living in ashes with them. while they appear to not be living in ashes. Most of the guys who claim to have swag don't, which is really unfortunate because it's something that swag is something people like to say that they have in absence of all other virtues. I may not be this, I may not be this, I may not be this. And then they will reply with, but I have swag though. And I noticed in this space, a lot of guys don't even have that, but because it's the internet.
I'm sorry.
Well, no, I'm not saying it to
go
be
there.
cruel or funny.
No, I know why you said that, but that's a behind the scenes conversation. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So they're absent that, but they do have hopes that their pretense of having it will, they'll be able to cash in on that someday.
Yeah, fake it till you make it going on. But
yeah, exactly. A lot of fake it until you make it. And I'm not here to really interfere with somebody's attempt to fake it until they make it. But by all means, don't try to interfere with what I do or what Pablo does, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, oh, really? A stove is a bad thing? Well, then that's when I sometimes decide to shatter your facade. Yeah.
I can't believe it. GC brought up the stove. Not normally somebody else has to, but GC brought it up. Okay. But all right. Shout out to
stove buyers are actually winning now. Stove buyers are up.
Right. Who we got? We got Freeman John in the building. Says it is fear of class separation. No community, and where do they fit? No community, and where do they fit? That is why they love the "you still black" reframe. You will be there with them. You will be there with them. Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind. I don't have a problem with the acknowledgement of blackness. I have a problem with it. I have a problem when the acknowledging that somebody is black means that they must they must wear they must wear these these scars or these badges or these they must comply with this set of things. That's when I got a problem with it.
Must be in the struggle.
Yeah. That sums up what I was trying to say. Yeah, I don't like that part of it. I don't mind just the simple acknowledgement of black. We are black men. Like, it is what it is, and so.
Everybody is something, and they all acknowledge those things. Like, that's why you have Chinese people in Chinatown. Like, they do acknowledge that they are that, but within that there is a social hierarchy.
Well, hold on, no. I think the better way to look at it is, okay, they're Chinese. They acknowledge that they're Chinese. Hence, there's a Chinatown. But if there was a bunch of Chinese people that operated in a messed up way, and those Chinese people that operated in a messed up way became the majority, does the Chinese people that have a functional community and built Chinatown, do they all of a sudden stop saying that they're Chinese and they drop the label of Chinatown and they're for you see what I'm saying? Well, I don't think they would drop being Chinese. They just would draw a line of division between, we're Chinese people that operate like this. That's how those Chinese niggas over there operate. See what I'm saying?
Well, they do. And they do more so than blacks in that regard. They do separate into different compartments. Some of them they do call, more white or American-born Chinese. They actually call them ABCs and things like that. So they do have those divisions within the Chinese community. The thing is, and this is a fundamental difference between the Chinese community and the black community, is that each of those subdivisions function very well. We have a subdivision that don't function well at all, and that is the one that's most vocal, and they try to reel as many black people in. It's the most polarized, it's the most seductive, and that's the one that tries to reel black people in the most.
All right, okay, what do you say to this, or what do y'all say to this? He says Chinese is a nationality, not a color. Obviously, I understand that. And he said race and nationality are not the same thing. Okay, our nationality is we are Americans. So are the Chinese people that we were literally just talking about. They're Americans too. They're
Yeah.
also they're okay. They're yellow. I mean, what the fuck? I mean,
Well,
I mean, we're in an odd
race.
we're in an odd place as Black people where it's hard to define ourselves because of our history. So I think it's basically like a gaslighting or derailing the conversation to me when they say race and nationality are different in the context of us talking about Black people and comparing us to other groups, nationalities, and or / races of people who are also a part of this nation with us. That's where I'm at with that. But go ahead. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I don't. Yeah, I think I don't know why that address. I mean, the only thing I can think of is I mistakenly called Chinese a race. It's not. It is a nationality. That's why the nation is in the word Chinese, China. You know, so yeah, if I made that mistake, then yeah, that is a misnomer. But I don't think I did. So I don't really know why that was a thing. But no, both of them fall, both African Americans and Chinese, particularly Chinese American, fall under the same category of community. And once again, theirs are functioning and ours isn't. Embracing dysfunction is what's going on with our community is that dysfunctional communities are trying to get others to embrace it and to become a part of it and really define the entire diaspora as dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
Clue says there is no Black. We're American only. I didn't see the American box to check when they asked for race. I didn't see the American box. I saw a lot of other boxes that a lot of the other people have to check as well. So it's like, but I understand the spirit of what you're saying, but you're applying it in a non-practical way. That's the only disagreement.
I'm not that far with it, but Bernard, if I may, I
Go
want
ahead.
to clarify the conversation that Bernard and I were having. Let me clarify. Pablo is not telling people to, oh, you need to go out and get with a biracial Spanish-speaking chick or nigga, you stuck. No, that's not what I was alluding to when I was saying mejor la raza, or better the race. What I was alluding to was that unlike Latin America, who did not have 100 years of Jim Crow, right? In the United States, we did, which made it more difficult for some of our brethren to let go of the slave culture, to let go of some of the more destructive, more negative, more counterproductive choices and behaviors that they may have developed along the way. And I'm not one of these, oh, it's slavery, that's the reason. No, because we had 100 years of Black people being together. But you can't miss the fact that they were, quote unquote, forced to be together. And so now when you have a choice, people are now deciding, okay, I don't have to just be with this person because they're Black. Now I have to make a value judgment, right? And so in that value judgment, meaning better the race, meaning you have to make a better choice. So what I was getting to was not about picking a light-skinned bitch. It's about, excuse me, I don't want to curse and lose your.
Oh no, I've been cussing. It's all good.
It's not about choosing, the nearest mulatto. It's about making a choice now based on something other than, oh, I'm just stuck with these people.
Yeah, no, agreed. Yeah, I agree 100% on that. And the thing is, most of the people in this space, and I it's hard to define what's this space because the algorithm is so messed up. The algorithm probably got more detractors of the space than actual people in the space, which means that the Black manosphere in many ways are just merged in with Black YouTube. So it's hard to really to draw a line of demarcation of what the space is. But when you look at people more attached to the core of what the Black manosphere is, most of them generally agree with you. Even even if they're dealing with Black women, they talk about Black women from other cultures, or they're talking about the smaller percentage of Black women within this culture who got their hit on straight and operate a certain way. So the not on the I'm Black, you Black, our mama's Black type of thing is more of the you got to have the damn good sense to judge somebody by, not to get all corny and cliche, but by the not by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. And that's where it's at. That's where any I think thinking individual should be at when it comes to that. But so that's why I always circle it back to we all generally agree. We know who the true detractors are, the people that, like they just said, Umar, he'd go after passport bros. They actually said Jason Black attacked passport bros recently. So there's,
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Okay, so we'll probably talk about that. But Sir Tyson in the building says buying a stove is simping. Says those also says those we be in the titty bar. Can't make this up. No doubt.
Oh yeah. Let's not forget the it's also said by people who buy $10 Mexican hookers and who buy a bunch of weed for women. Let's not.
All right. Charles Merchant in the building says race hustlers cannot tell you that they are. Race hustlers cannot tell you that they are told they were Black by the Marxist superiors. Excuse me. If you declare yourself Black, you essentially claim that you don't know your actual lineage. If you declare yourself Black, you essentially claim that you don't know your actual lineage. It's true that most of us don't know our lineage beyond the plantation. If you accept that story, some people have a whole different story, but if you accept that story, then yes, most of us don't know our lineage beyond the plantation. So when they ask, just like how white people could say, "Oh, I'm half French and half German," or whatever, we can't say that. We just can trace it back to the plantation. So yes, that's when it comes to our nationality. We don't know the roots. We just know that we are Americans and we are of African descent. And we have took that and called it Black. And I don't fight and argue just off the word Black because I understand what we're talking about. We're just talking about Americans of African descent that's been here since slavery, more or less. That's what we're talking about. So I don't know. I don't lose sleep. I don't lose sleep over the label, and I don't fight the label. Charles Merchant says, bullseye, Bernard, Black means your life started at roots. Unfortunately, I don't know what else to call it. I don't know what else to do with it. I don't know any other way to explain it. But that's what we're talking about when we say Black. And I don't fight or wrestle with that. I generally accept that. It is what it is, but it doesn't define me today in how I must live, how I must operate, and what I must do. That's where I'm at with it, and that's what I want. I want people to be logical in that regard. Going forward. But Pablo, what's your thoughts on Jason Black attacking or going after or criticizing passport bros? What's your thoughts on that?
I heard it. I heard some of what he had to say.
Okay.
I remember the specifics of it, but it's the usual tropes. Oh, you couldn't get someone here. You need to stay here and fix the issue.
You need to fix yourself, Pablo.
Right.
So you could be better for this this woman that you've declared you don't want.
Exactly. So it was basically the same old tropes. Let me say something about this Black identity and quote unquote admitting you don't know your lineage. Let me tell you, I found out some really, really complicated things about my ancestry. And some very things that make me very proud about my ancestry. My third great grandfather fought in the Civil War. He was one of those colored troops that fought for the Union Army. He was a free man when he did so. I also found that he was the son of a slave master, who also had the same name and was a general in the Confederate Army. So I have a very complicated history that encompasses both the African and the European, all encompassing in one family. So
well, go back. I was reading the chat. Go back and say what you said. But Jay Locke, just to respond to you really fast, it's not that I don't know of these things. I do know of those things. I just don't feel that y'all have fully substantiated your claim and or proved it. So I don't accept it as true that we are all Native American / Indians. No, that if you drop that all and you say a percentage of us, okay, maybe, but no. But see, you're making too strong of a claim that I don't think you could substantiate. But I give you opportunity to do that. But go ahead, Pablo. But you were saying you had you were saying your lineage. I missed it when I was reading the chat.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So my third great grandfather was a corporal in the Union Army, fighting against the Confederacy. And by the way, so were 200 and some odd thousand other black men. So a lot of you have that same lineage. You just don't know it.
Right.
And the popular refrain is that, quote unquote, Lincoln freed the slaves. Oh, no. They fought for that freedom. So please remember that. There was no, quote unquote, handing over of freedom.
More importantly, and this goes out to the Sinjis of the world and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They didn't necessarily fight for their freedom, because if they were in a position to fight, they were technically free. They fought for the freedom of
others. Yes,
exactly. I think that that's a very, very, very important distinction. And one, your freedom. So thank you, Miss Don't Protect and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they had to get free first in order to fight. You're right. And
exactly.
many of them did exactly
that. Wait, hold on. Wait. You know what? I foolish me. I never thought of it that way. The actual slaves weren't actually fighting. The men it was free black men who were fighting.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's basically men that could say, something, I could just go to Canada and get a white girl, but they actually
came back to fight to free other black men and black women.
And by the way, as the Union Army captured territory, those plantations and areas that they liberated, those men were then took up arms and began to fight.
Yeah.
So as they went along, more and more and more began to become involved and to fight for the freedom of other black people. So, they say we didn't build nothing. We built this nation that you live in.
All right. You know what? We are almost at the 2 hour and 30-minute mark. We probably about to go ahead and wrap this bad boy on up. I don't know if either one of y'all got any parting words y'all want to give to the people before we get up out of here.
Nah, man, I don't have any.
All right. So with that, man, okay, I gotta lay off the coffee and the dairy and putting too much cream in my coffee. It's got my stomach rumbling. All right. But anyway, shout out to everybody in the building. Do appreciate everybody coming on through. Everybody who supported the stream, like, share, subscribe, did anything to support it in any way, shape, or form. Do appreciate each and every one of you. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace. We gone.
Peace.